everyone, welcome to Melancholy Coaching Podcast. Join me as I interview inspiring business owners and self-improvement seekers while exploring business building, monetizing ideas and practical takeaways. Let's ignite our creative potential together. Hello and welcome to Melancholy Coaching Podcast, the show that highlights different business owners and ideas. I'm Fran, your NLP and business coach, and I'm intrigued to introduce a motivational guest. Lou is a consultant leaders hire when their next level needs new behaviours. With over 15 years in behaviour change, she's bringing those insights into the business world to help women break the habits and patterns that keep them stuck. Her work focuses on changing what you do so you can finally build the business you've been dreaming of and become the woman you're meant to be. Lou, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Fran.
Oh, you're very welcome. So for complete transparency, we've met online, haven't we? We haven't actually met in person.
Yeah.
So it's nice to get these networking connections, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I've got a couple of questions for you. We'll have a chat around them and go from there if that's okay with you.
Yeah, fire away.
So, so what turning point in your own journey changed your approach to work?
So like you've just introduced, I've been in the behaviour change field for over 15 years, and that started and still is, it's around substance use. So that is where I've kind of built all of this. And what I was noticing was a lot of things that I was coming up against in the workplace, I was doing myself. And even though I was working with people who, they were at rock bottom, and I was thinking, hang on, they're making changes, they're doing the things that they need to be doing. Why am I not doing the things I need to be doing? Like, I know the strategies, I've got the plans in place, I know what I need to be doing, but I'm still not doing it. And it all came down to the behaviors, the habits, the patterns, and the routines that I had or didn't have. And that's what was keeping me stuck. So as soon as I kind of put those two together, I was like, that's it. Because ultimately, everything we do is around behavior, absolutely everything. So,
Yeah. And that also impacts our belief system and our values, and there's so many more things that go into it, isn't there?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, I hear you on that as well, in that quite often I will say to people, like, just I can help you with this, just don't necessarily look at everything I do because I don't show it. There's my shop front is not that great. So
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
necessarily reflect my knowledge.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
that's
definitely.
probably what you identified, but then you were able to put that in and, to bring yourself forward even more to help people.
Yeah, like you say, whenever you kind of break down behavior,
Mhm.
it's quite simple but complex at the same time. So if you ever want to kind of create a new one, it follows the same kind of process, but obviously it's not as simple as me saying you've got to do that process. There's lots of things that go with it as well. Kind of things you've got to break, things you've got to introduce. But yeah, on that and it in its like simplest terms, behavior is quite easy to change, I guess. It's just recognizing that it's always more than kind of your mindset and the strategy. It's the things you actually do after you've got that mindset and strategy in place.
It's also the knowledge that we can change,
Yeah,
the belief that we can change.
yeah,
Because if somebody's
yeah,
got a fixed mindset, or if they've never been introduced to the fact that they can change,
yeah.
their behaviors, they wouldn't know that it exists in the first place.
No, and I get that all the time. So I often work with kind of young people as well. And I see that a lot with them, that they'll have a conversation. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to be when you're old? And they're like, oh, nothing. I'm never going to do anything. And I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, you are. And you can often
Yeah.
see like that's the first time that somebody's believed in them. So when somebody else believes in them, they start believing in themselves, and they're like,
They
oh,
believe
actually,
themselves and they believe that it's possible. Yeah,
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Another question for you that I'm intrigued about myself. So what habit, I'm going to go for a habit here. What habit have you seen recur most often in leaders who feel stuck? And how do you typically help them to shift it?
I think it is not just kind, I suppose that, yeah. there's lots of different habits that we do. And I think probably the most common one is our avoidance. So we will do things that we don't always know we're avoiding. So one habit that I've got, I'm terrible for, is I'll just pick up my phone and start scrolling. But I'm doing research. I'm looking at what I need to do, and I'm looking at what people are doing on Instagram. I'm not. It's a total avoidance pattern that I'm doing because I want that quick dopamine hit and to avoid the thing that I'm trying to do. And I think especially with like women in business and leaders in business, we we often face those things that are quite hard and difficult. We sometimes we're on our own and trying to kind of go through a thought process or trying to get us from A to B. We can sometimes be like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. So we'll go to that avoidance because it's easier, and this is what our brain wants us to do. Ultimately, our brain wants us to feel safe and it doesn't want us to feel uncomfortable. So the easiest thing for it to do to try and protect us is to put that avoidance pattern in. So the thought of going on a podcast or the thought of putting yourself out there on Instagram, our brain goes, oh my goodness, that's really scary. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm going to avoid it. And I think that's probably the thing that I see most common is that avoidance. But we don't always know that that's what we're doing. We can sometimes hide behind like lack of knowledge. So
Yeah.
if we're trying to build something, we're like, oh, I can't possibly do that because I don't know enough. So we might then do avoidance, but it looks like we're being productive. So we'll join another membership or we'll buy another course or we'll read another book. But
Put it off a
actually,
little bit longer. There's a few things to unpack there, and we just get into a couple of them. So, firstly, there's no judgment for any of this at all. We're all prone to doom scrolling, instant gratification,
absolutely.
putting things off. So there's no judgment. If you're listening to this and you're feeling called out, it's the intention for this is to say, okay, well, you've identified it then yourself, come to Lou for guidance.
Yeah.
There's no judgment with any of this, and I do feel that a lot of it is revolves around that instant gratification, and because we've got so much at our fingertips now, which is amazing, but it
Yeah.
gives us more to put in those avoidance patterns, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Even down to like Amazon, we never have to wait for anything anymore. If I've got to wait more than 2 days, I'm not happy. I want it tomorrow. So yeah, we're definitely in that kind of instant gratification. And again, I think that like leads into that kind of business thing is that, we see a lot of people out there that will put out their outcomes, but they never ever show their experience of how they got to those outcomes. It'll be like those big goals, and they're amazing to share. And we all want to celebrate everybody, but let's normalize the process of how they got there as well. It's not that they made those 10K months within a week. They spent years and years and years doing that, or they've got a team that's helping them. So let's be a bit more transparent with that and share our experiences because things don't change overnight and behavior definitely doesn't change overnight. So it's a process that we have to keep working at and we have to keep adjusting. Things don't change straight away. I don't know anybody, and I've never worked with anybody that has changed something perfectly the first time. It just doesn't happen. Um,
Yeah.
we've kind
It's about it's testing, learning from that, what worked, what didn't work, and then moving forward, but having the guidance to and the confidence to be able to do that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. If we don't get it right the first time, how are we going to learn what is gonna,
There's
work?
some of that as well. I was going to just hark back to the scrolling a little bit, the doom scrolling and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
some of that could potentially be regulation, like to regulate.
Mm,
If you've had a
yeah,
busy day or something like that, and you feel like you want to do something, like you've been overstimulated basically, and you
yeah,
think, oh, I'm going to do some research, but you end up scrolling, that could be a form of self-regulation. And
yeah. And I definitely do that in the evenings. Like I'm always on my phone, and my husband's like, "Why? I want to have a chat," and I'm like, "Whoa, no, I've had a really busy day. I just need to." Like I say, regulate myself. I think
yeah,
it's about like when you're meant to be doing a task, and the easiest thing
yeah,
is to just pick up a phone. I mean, that's what I tend to do anyway.
yeah. So part of this also would be that there are times for that.
Hmm.
However, you're still going to move people forward. You're still going to get them where they want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, there's no judgment for any of that either, because I love a good scroll on my phone. I do.
Yeah.
um, is there, just out of curiosity, is there a common misconception about behaviour change in leadership that you encounter? One of them I think you've touched on already, that it is either it's not for me or that it's instant and I can't achieve that. So that potentially could be a misconception.
Yeah, I think a lot of people maybe think that if they can't do something, that they're just not cut out for business.
Mm.
And I think that does come out to that, social is a massive part of it. We tend to see, like say, everybody's business out there. Whereas if you went back to kind of, the days before social media, you wouldn't have so much kind of thrown in your face of what you potentially, what makes you feel like you're doing something wrong, but you're not doing anything wrong. It's just somebody else's journey. And yeah, I just think we're probably just exposed to probably too much information. So
Well, our
then,
brains can only take so much in anyway,
yeah,
because, we're bombarded with thousands of pieces of information, whether that in all sensory contexts, isn't
yeah,
it? And we can
yeah,
only process a certain amount of that. And that's what can lead to overwhelm and
yeah.
dysregulation and things like that.
Yeah, and
Um,
and I think that's what it comes down to is we just get so much, we end up going into that kind of comparison spiral as well that I'm just not cut out for it. I'm not doing as well as I should be according to everybody out there.
yeah,
I'm not as far as long as I should be. And like I say, our brains are then programmed to keep us safe. So I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to feel those those uncomfortable feelings. Therefore, I'm just going to take a step back and do something that I do feel comfortable. And I think like with behavior change, you have to take that step forward. But I always say it needs to be the next doable step. So there's
mm,
no point in saying, I'm going to go from, I don't know, business related. I'm going to go from not posting at all on Instagram to showing up 5 times a week, a talking head reel. It's not going to happen. It's going to feel too much, too big. And you're just going to go back to that.
well,
I,
I know that I would be okay on day one. I,
yeah,
I would more or less be okay on day two. I'd think about it on day three, and then I wouldn't do it again,
yeah. And that comes down to
because
motivation
it's
as
that
well.
momentum, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
building in that momentum as well, that build up to it.
Yeah, and that's where behavior change comes into it as well. That we're in January, everyone started their New Year's resolutions, and it's probably around now that their motivation is starting to dip, that they're starting to wobble and think, oh, can I keep
Yeah.
up with this
It's a
kind
funny
of
thing, isn't it? New Year's resolution. So whenever you're listening to this podcast, this has been recorded, you know, at the early part of the year.
yeah.
So this will go out in February. We're recording it in January.
Yeah.
And funny thing about resolutions, I never make them.
No, no,
And
I'm
I
saying,
used to, because I think I thought I was meant to. Like when I was
yeah,
younger, it's a thing that you're meant to do. And
yeah,
then like it didn't hold any substance to it. There was no backbone to it. There was no plan to it.
yeah,
So I stopped and then realized it's because I didn't know how to. A resolution more or less is a goal, isn't it? And I didn't know how to
yeah.
goal set.
Yeah. And that's it. I think a lot of people, it is that I'm supposed to do a New Year's
Mm,
resolution. Yeah, but why? If you haven't got the reasons of kind of why you're doing it, and like say the goal,
yeah.
it's just you're just saying something, but there's
Yeah.
no
I
kind of
think we
plan.
pick up parts of other people's identities as well, which, is a natural thing for human beings to do.
Yeah,
But it's also about crafting who you want to be, isn't it? And
yeah,
what you want to achieve. And being able to stay in your own lane and
yeah,
look at other people out of research or modeling or enjoyment, but be able to stay in your own lane, because otherwise it's that I guess that's where people get kind of thoughts about their identity, or that they're not good enough,
yeah.
things like that. It can lead into so much more, can't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to behavior change as well, that can work really well having other people around you
Yeah.
because you can then see what is possible. So that's another, it's about having the right influence around you, I suppose.
That's a
Um,
very important point, actually. It's about so with your social media, you can curate your social media so that it's inspiring or motivating, educational. You can also do that with the people that are around you and the things that you go to, your networking events and things like that. It's about building in the things that are going to build you up.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So what's next for you?
Oh, what is next?
What is next for you?
I say, yeah, I'm kind of going with the flow. Um, this has been a really kind of strange journey for me to get to this point, if you like, because like I said, I've spent 15 years in this field, and it's only now that I've kind of realized that, yeah, it applies to absolutely everything. So
Mm.
I am going with the flow. I'm really, really excited to get this kind of out into the open. Um, because I think, yeah, I just think it's the missing piece sometimes that, like I say, you can have all the mindset, you can have the strategy, but it's the behaviors then. So you can know what you need to do, but it's about actually putting it into practice and doing the thing, but in a doable, realistic way. And that's what I'm all about is I'm all about working with somebody to move them forward, but in a comfortable, safe way as well. Because, like I said,
Yeah.
there's no point in me saying, you need to do this, 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 and this, and that person inside thinking, absolutely not. It's just never ever going to work. So
Yeah, it has to be built in a way that's achievable, doesn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Because we're all different. Because I was just thinking actually while you were talking, and I'm one of these messy, imperfect action people. So, it's like, give you an example. I modelled Mother of the Bride on a runway in a bridal show yesterday because I do
oh,
other things as
amazing.
well. And I nearly fell off the end of the stage. I'm okay, by the way, but I nearly fell off the end of the stage. And then I went out another time and knelt down, like bent down to do something to help a bride with their train. And then my arthritic knees wouldn't stand up again. And I do all these things. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, why did I do that? But I'm quite comfortable in my skin. I'm quite comfortable showing up how I show up, even if it shows imperfections. Potentially, what not what I'm guilty of, but one of the things I tend to do is that get into that analysis paralysis type thing. So I'm like, I do this thing, I'm just going to do the research first, I'm going to learn about it, and I get stuck there.
Mm,
Now, that could be a behavior change thing, couldn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that could be that you're going to do something, you probably already know what you need to do, but it's again, it's that avoidance thing that, oh, actually doing it feels a little
The
bit
avoidance.
scary, so I'm going to go learn something else about it. But if you kind of think about it, you probably are not learning anything more than you already do. There might genuinely be that knowledge gap, and if it is, that's fine. But again, I'm guilty for it, where I've done millions of courses, millions of master classes. I'm like, actually, I haven't learned anything different. I'm just avoiding
Yeah,
doing the thing that moves me forward.
yeah, because you're not appreciating that you're already ready.
Yeah. And it's just
Yeah,
something new. Whenever we try something new, it is scary the first time, but the more you do it, the more your brain gathers evidence then of actually,
that's
I'm
right.
okay. And I think a lot of the time as well, things that we do often stem from stories we were told when we were younger, and we don't necessarily realize that that's what might be keeping us back. Um, so yeah, I noticed that quite a lot as well.
Well, I think that our belief system is formed in the first few years, and that we get it from our caregivers. So
Yeah,
that would be our environments, our caregivers. We're not necessarily born with that, are we?
no.
So
And I
that's why
think,
those early years are very important.
yeah, I think it happens like throughout your life as well, that even though like the ones that kind of form us are in our kind of early childhood, I think throughout kind of school and things, you might have a teacher that tells you you're never ever going to be good at maths, so basically don't bother. And that is a story you might take with you forever. That
And you take it
actually,
as a belief, you take it as a
yeah,
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, so every time then you approach something that is similar to that situation, your brain goes, right, try and think of a time when this happened before, and it takes you straight back there, and that uncomfortable feeling happens, and your brain goes, no, we're not going there again. We're going to do something completely different. So we're going to create an avoidance pattern. So we're not going to do that because that's scary. So until you kind of do the behavior change work and you can recognize that and think, right, actually, that's what that was. This is what's going to move me forward, but move me forward in a safe way that I can now gather evidence and my brain can go, actually, I've done this before. And when I did it the last time, it was okay. I
It
was
was
safe.
okay.
Nothing really
Yeah.
happened. So I can do it again. And that is what that's the work that I do, is that it's identifying what that trigger is around that behavior, around that habit, around those patterns, and seeing how then you can change the routine that you do to be able to then get like the reward then. So that is the
Mm.
evidence to,
The reward sounds
yeah.
lovely. But see, that would even work on somebody that resonates with um, my stories, because although I do that messy and perfect action, so my brain has got so much evidence of me tripping up, falling over, doing something wrong, showing up
Mm,
online and it going terribly wrong. And I've got loads of evidence of failing. I've got loads of evidence of things not working out for me. And I'm okay with that because I'll look at it and adjust it and learn from it. But when I couldn't self-regulate and I didn't know that I could have growth mindset,
mhm.
I would have just run away. I would have just said, no, there's so many things in my younger years that I turned my back on because I
Yeah,
was embarrassed or I was frightened.
yeah, yeah.
And so even if you're at any stage, this can come in. So if
Hmm.
you're at my stage, it can come in because it can be that analysis paralysis or just to even move you forward that bit more. Or if you're in those early stages, it still works, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything is, yeah, it's really fascinating when you
I
kind of
know
dive
it is, it
into
is. And it's a big old rabbit hole to get into, and we're not going to do
it.
that today. I've had a little teaser from you.
Yeah.
Right, so thank you, Lou, for
Thank
sharing your
you.
insights and your strategies today. Um, I think that your work can actually be transforming. It's a transforming thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
To get into belief work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Showing leaders how to show up.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you interested in learning more about Lou and her work, you can find her on Instagram, and you're there as the Lou Collins.
I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
amazing. Um, what's just out of another bit of curiosity? So what's coming up next for you? If you've got anything coming up at all?
There is going to be a membership
Amazing.
that is coming. And the reason that I want to set that up is, even though I've kind of looked at leaders, I'm also realizing this applies to absolutely anything anybody does.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of a safe space where I can help people move forward, like I said, in that safe, controlled, way, and those realistic ways. So that is what is on the cards. So yeah, watch this space.
Amazing. So watch the space for that. It's
Yeah.
also how we see, I'm fascinated by language and communication. So it's also how we interpret the word leader,
Hmm.
because you could well get somebody say, well, I'm not a leader, but in a sense, we've all got the potential to be leaders, and we're all leaders in something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's the mindset around your interpretation of what that means as well.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's a lovely idea to start a membership and just start, including people, and then you can, um, I don't know what that's going to be. Is it going to be educational? Is it going to be network based? Is it who knows? It's
I
very
don't.
exciting. So we're
Yeah.
going to have to come back and see how that manifests itself.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'm
right. So if
really
you're in,
excited for it. I'm
good.
really excited. Yeah.
Yeah, good, good. I just heard you say that. I was just gonna start wrapping the podcast up, and then I heard you say that, and I'm like, oh, I'm back in again. If you're interested in more content like this, be sure to visit www.melancholymentor.com. That's me. You can come and follow along for my messy and perfect actions, and just to show you you can do it too. Not necessarily all my mistakes, but if I can do it, You can do it. You can do it as well. And if you're interested in behaviour change or anything to do with that and you're intrigued about Loose Membership, come find her on Instagram. So until next time, stay curious and keep igniting your creative potential.
Thank you for listening. I'd love you to subscribe and visit www.melancholymentor.com for the latest updates. Till next time, stay curious and keep igniting your creative potential.